Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk the Talk with Manahyl. My guest today is very special. She is known for speaking her mind, carrying her heart on her sleeve, rescuing animals wherever she finds them, and also designs clothes and is a mother to two lovely kids. I'm going to welcome Yasmin Ali Zaidi. Hi.
Hi.
I should say Yasmin is lovingly known as Jazz. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
And the last time I saw you, I came to your house in Dubai, right?
In a long time.
And since then, you have now moved to Karachi. How has that been? How has that been for you, straight off the bat?
Not easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it can ever be easy because it was first Los Angeles and then Dubai and then Karachi. So, but we make the most of it. We're adjusting. We've obviously, my husband being a minister, things changed a lot. So we're doing.
Did you come back for Ali's role into politics?
Before we
that?
moved before, and then they had the elections, and then he won. We really didn't know what would happen. At least I didn't, because it's been so many years of a struggle. So we came back, and he was made minister, and so much happened. It actually felt surreal when this did happen. But ever since, that struggle, we kind of turned it into trying to make a difference here. And I always said that if ever we are in any position like this, if we're ever given the opportunity, then I want to do something for animals in this country to make a difference.
And what's it like, being married to or having a spouse that is a minister and is in government? Does that affect, how does that take your family life? What is that like?
It's very challenging.
Right?
You need to be you need to be an absolutely independent woman. You have to take charge of everything. You have to be the man in the house,
Right.
Because your husband's out there, struggling for Pakistan, especially these guys. They're not sitting here enjoying anything. We don't get any extra perks or any of that.
Right.
So they're out there working probably 20 hours a day.
And
right?
that probably is
And
time away
I'm
from home.
on my own, and I need to handle most of the things around here, my children, and then of course my animal rights work and my fashion design, which is I try to make my own living.
Yeah.
So between all that, it's outrage. It's crazy what I have to deal with. You keep an optimistic approach in a very pessimistic environment, which is very challenging.
Are there any pressures on you or the kids on how to be or how to, because now...
Well, sometimes there is, there are certain pressures, but I am a person who believes in what I have self-belief. I believe in what I do, and I know what I do is in God's way, and what I do is true to my heart and soul.
Right.
So then I know that what I do will be right,
Correct.
that way. But our pressures that we have are, yes, we sometimes are under threats, and we have my children as well because of the way my husband is as well, and even I am. I'm very vocal in what I do, and I fight for animals. So those kind of things are there, but I think we are very fearless. That's why we are where we are, and we do what we do.
Tell me, you were recently involved in all this, there was this rescue shelter thing that was happening, and you were very heavily involved with it. And you also conduct rescues,
Yes.
right? So how did you get into it, and when, and how did you make that decision?
So the thing is that I do a bunch of things in animal rights. I've always called myself an animal rights activist, like we call the same thing in America. And that's kind of along the lines where I, made my Jazz the animal's voice. That's the name of my NGO. And in Urdu also we have, it's called Jazz Bezaban Ki Awaaz. So uska dono zaban mein, you have a translation so people can understand. And so the thing is, what I do is, first of all, of course, I rescued animals. The two things that I've always done throughout my life, and it's carried on from my mother, who's Swiss.
Right.
And my mother, being a Swiss woman, did this in Pakistan. For 30 years, she's helped animals, rescued and fed them and stuff. So it's something innate. It's in our blood. It runs. Maybe it's the European blood.
Right.
But I come from a home of extreme animal lovers, hardcore animal rights activists, and a lawyer father. So, I think it's just there. And I started, when I came here, Obviously, coming in a society where animals don't have rights and animals are abused, I was thrown in it. There was no choice. I cannot turn my back from an animal in need or in distress or in hunger. So it sucked me in. I started with Empress Market raids because animals were locked and dying, and then animals were starving on streets. So I think from the time we ever landed back here, whenever I saw cats at the Rakshana police station, I fed them. It's been 2 years, I still feed them. There's not a day goes by that these animals are not fed by me. I have feeding spots, so I feed animals, I fight for their rights. And as I'm doing things were coming along my way. And I really believe it's God sent. I believe God has put me on this path. And there must be a reason that I left a place like Los Angeles and I'm here today.
Right.
I'm here, then my life has to have some meaning. And I must do something here.
You were saying that, when you're doing your animal work and animal rescue work, you've had to face a lot of struggles to get to this point.
Yes.
I want to know more about that, because one would assume that you are doing such a good thing and it's easy to kind of get up and do it. And you're telling me it's not.
It's very sad and very unfortunate to know that even in humanitarian work, we deal with politics. People, my theory is, if you really love animals, if I love something and you love the same thing and she loves the same thing, we will work towards that goal, right? We're not going to have different agendas. So if you love animals, you would work together with everybody. Because in the end, you want to save them. It's never about us, and it should not be about us. But I think here, it's not like that. I think it's about people first. It's all about me, and then the animal. So I'm sorry, if you're going to have that attitude, you will never be able to make a difference and change lives of animals. That's why today we're sitting here, animals are still massacred. They're poisoning the dogs. Because together, if people were together for the same cause, we would have been much stronger.
You didn't find that people were making this easier for you?
No, I don't think so. I think we've had issues where, unfortunately, people come in your way. People love to take credit for what you do. I could never do something like that. I always believe give credit to the person who's due in what they do. You know what? Great if somebody is doing.
There's a lot of credit stealing in animal rescue
it
work.
happens. It happens, and it's just sad that in everything good that you do here, it's really sad to know that there are hurdles. And you are telling people, you'll be sitting here and telling the government that, listen, this is cruel. These animals are in these pet markets, in Empress Market. They're in cages. They're dying. They're crying. The guy is sitting. There's a dead cat. He doesn't even know. How come you are in a position you do not want to get up and do something about it?
Correct. I mean, and your husband is in government. And I assume you really...
I hound him, I tell him, but the thing is, it's not in his control.
Right.
Because he's not doing he's not in local government.
Correct.
He's not a commissioner, or he's not in the local. He's in a federal government, and he helps me in many ways. He's always been supportive. When shutters had to be opened, he got shutters. He told them, he helped me. He's always opened the shutters of those shops. We rescued animals. But what I mean is, when you're telling people who have the authority, who are sitting on that desk and they can make the decision, they can shut this market down. Why are they not doing it?
So why do you think they're not doing it?
I don't know. I want to ask them as well. It's something you have to, it's a living thing. How can you not? I keep saying, this is Islamic Republic of Pakistan, right? Where is the Islam? Where is it? This is not Islam. God says you can't cage an animal. If you cage an animal and you don't provide food, you are going to hell because you have trapped it. You're not letting it go and hunt its own food.
Do you think you can tell a lot about society by how they treat the animals?
Of course. Didn't Gandhi say that? That you want to know about a nation? Go and see how it treats its animals.
Like in Thailand, I love the way that each dog over there, I mean, street dogs, and I mean, it's so common to see them being adopted.
Are they killing them? Are they going and brutally poisoning them so they die in 5 hours? No. If everybody took ownership of the poor, starving animals on our streets, we would not have misery. You know, the aura changes of a city. I really believe in that because I read a lot of science, metaphysics, law of attraction. I believe in all these sciences. And there is a reason that we have this very morbid aura. Why? Because of all the killings and because of all the negativity in the society. And it breeds that kind of environment. And I'm sure when you go abroad, there's a certain peace that you get, because the society is more forgiving, more friendly, warm, and nurturing and humane. Humanity today, without humanity, this world will not survive.
When I came into the house, I saw a lot of cats, and I was talking to your kids, and I believe there are over 20 cats in this house, somewhere around, and 14 that live indoors.
I think, are there? I actually stopped counting.
And saw that the kids, one was holding one cat, the other one kind of had another one on his shoulder, there's another one going around, and they seem very comfortable. I mean, I'm sure they've seen you over the years. How did you get into getting them to feel the same way? Is this something that comes naturally to them too, or did you kind of nudge them a little bit?
No, 100%. I'd say it comes naturally. Like I told you, my mother's been a rescuer here.
Yeah.
And being a European, I think it's innate, it runs in my blood. And I wouldn't, people say, oh, this is Jazz, the animal lover. I said, no, there's much more than that.
Right.
I call myself an animal whisperer. I'm a whisperer. Wow. I definitely have a much bigger connection. That's why I go to street dogs and I touch them. You know what? They've never ever harmed me. They've never shown aggression. They're the most harmless, loving animals. So my children are the same way. It comes naturally. My son is like a whisperer. The animals are drawn to him. He loves them. And when I had little kittens, I surrogated 4 babies. This was like a mother's arm. And I dropper fed them. And I had to go somewhere. Dilawar was the one who made the bottle formula, and he took one by one and he fed them with the dropper.
You must have had that was something to be proud of.
And I was very proud of him. I was very proud of him to do that, because these are the things when you instill in your children, this is what goes a long way. And this is what really makes them great human beings and, gives them confidence in life. And it's very important for a human and a child especially to love an animal.
I do sometimes feel a little sad when I meet kids who have this fear of animals, because they have taken it. It's most likely that they've taken it from their parents.
Which is bad.
Why are we so scared of animals?
Because it's never taught since childhood. I grew up in a house full of animals. For me, a house without animals is abnormal.
Yeah.
So if somebody listens to me, they'll be like, hey, but this is what in Europe and America, it's very common because everybody thinks like me. So here it's because it's not taught, and there are some people who love animals, but they're not enough. Majority people have a phobia, and they freak out, and they jump when a cat comes, and I long to hold them. So I always say, please do not take your phobia and instill it in your children. You're not doing them a favor. You're their worst enemy. Do not. If you have a phobia because your mother had that phobia and you were not taught, please encourage them, to go to homes where there are animals, or let them explore.
Animal therapy is a thing, by the way.
It is, yes, it is.
Of course, and
it is so therapeutic. I come home from holidays, I go abroad, even when I go to Islamabad, and I have 2 dogs there as well, and we are drawn to our home because of our animals.
One time when we were scheduling for this interview, I called Jazz, and she said, oh, hold up, can I call you back? I'm rescuing my bear. And I said, that's just not something you hear on a regular phone call. Somebody says, hold up, my kid's screaming. So how do you get on with that? Like, tell me about this.
Things fall in my path. Story of the bear fell on me the minute I landed from a flight home. I know I have a network. I know a lot of people who help and rescue, and there's some good people out there trying to do their, little bit with whatever resources they have. And I saw on Facebook that this bear has been snatched from a rescuer in Islamabad and Pindi that I know. I called her and I said, why didn't you call me? If somebody was harassing and they snatched the bear, and if it was anybody in government, you should have called me. So anyway, I got the information, what happened. And then we found out that the bear was taken from Pindi to Lahore Zoo. And that baby was dumped in the zoo, and he was howling and crying. Oh, no. And the video had reached. And this had happened the night before. So of course, I cannot hear howling and crying of any animal in distress.
Right.
And so that's it. And then I dropped everything.
And you were
And I was on this quest. And I literally said, may God help me. and may God be with me, but I need to do this. And the immediate first person I always call is my husband.
Right.
How can you help me? There is a bear. And then he told me who were the concerned people in Punjab government. I was very indebted to them to even listen to me, to call me, to hear me. I spoke to sanctuaries. I did my homework. Then I drove to Lahore. I met them, and then they understood. And I had done my homework, so I'd already found the right place for the bear. And so they agreed. And in the end, after 3 days, they finally, with all the red tape, whatever we had, they finally gave the bear. If I'd left him there, his life would be miserable. But today, his destiny can change. And we can all do that. We all have that power to change the life of another being. Why wouldn't we do that? It is so rewarding. No money, no business can reward you as much as something like this.
You're opening a shelter soon. Is that something
yes,
that you want to do?
And I wouldn't even say that it's a want, that I would say I want to open a shelter.
Okay.
You know, it's a need. I have to open
wow.
my shelter. I have to. People beg me because there is 1 or 2 shelters here. They take injured animals. They don't just take in any animal, right? There are people who call me and say, there are 10 dogs, they're very friendly, they're in my neighborhood, they're going to be killed by people. Why are they going to be killed by people? Why can't they feed them and let them live? My shelter should be a place where I can accommodate as much as possible. Of course, I have my limitations. If today government helps me and I have more support, I can do much more. Right. But I want to help people. And I have countless people who call me every day. And sometimes I can't help those animals because I don't have a space. So it's a need. And I am going to build this shelter in God's name, with charity, with help from everyone.
Yes, so and I was going to say, is there any way that we can help?
Yes, if everybody even donated 1,000 rupees in sadqa, in animals' name to me, and if thousands of people donated just 1,000, imagine how quickly I could build this shelter. I have the land. Somebody is gracious enough to give me this space near the ocean. So it's a lovely, serene place. You will love it. So that's the goal. And right now we're literally in building stage. I'm collecting funds.
Right.
And whatever I have, I'm going to start going and putting that first pillar. So my wheel turns. So and I have faith that, inshallah, slowly, I will start building.
If there's any link or page or somewhere where you're collecting donations,
well,
we would be happy to kind of put it under our video.
Right now, I have a Jazz Pesa account under Jazz the Animal's Voice. It takes up to 2 lakhs, but if people could even donate there.
So this is your basic
we're doing
focus
what we can
in your life now, which is animal welfare, rescuing and all of that. But apart from being a mother to all these animals, you are a mom to 2 very, very cool kids. And I wanted to bring one of them on. Dilawar might sit in on this. He's not promised us anything about talking. So we're going to welcome Yasmin's daughter, Sacha. Thanks, Sacha and Dilawar, for coming on. You're still not going to say a word, right? Okay, I told you that one. Sacha, you have now turned, how old? 15. Right? And the last time I saw you, you were still quite young. And now you've become, a teenager and you are interning at a law firm and you do all these charity drives. Do you think any of this is because of who you've had as parents, as role models, or?
Yeah, it is, because as I've grown up, my dad's always gone to orphanages to distribute like goodie bags and balloons stuff on the 30th Eid. It's like a thing that he does every year. So from that, I also picked up to.
So that's a mini tradition with them, huh? That they go on the 3rd day of Eid. And how did that come about? How long have you been doing it since?
I don't know. My dad's been doing it for a while, so I just went with him for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And I just picked up from there to always give back.
And what's it like to be the daughter of 2 such dynamic people? Your mother is doing something and your father is, on the other hand.
I mean, it's like there's many things happening in one day. I barely see my dad. My dad's
this
always
is true.
busy. And then my mom's always coming in with a new cat every day. So
yeah.
Not just a cat or maybe some dog, or not just here, maybe somewhere else.
Bunnies also?
Yeah.
Yes, we have 2.
Wow.
We rescued them. One was Empress Market, the pair, one died.
Yeah.
And the other bunny, I raided a pet shop And I took out those animals from that pet shop.
Good on you.
Because they were in a horrible condition. I wish I could raid all of them.
Right. So who do you think is the most stricter parent? Your mum or your
My
dad?
parents have never been strict.
They've never been strict.
No.
And you kind of, yeah, what have you been like as a parent to them? Can you tell me about that?
I'm very relaxed and chill.
Which is good, no?
Yeah, well, I had relaxed, chill parents. Well, of course, little strict because of the conditions of this country. That's why
Correct.
they are. But of course, coming from a very mixed background, I had a lot of freedom and my parents gave me that trust.
Right.
So I have the same. I give my children that trust. I try to instill the right values and they are taught what's right and wrong. And then I hope that they will follow the right path. I don't give them false, illusions about the world. I think I'm a very different parent.
Yeah.
I'm very bold. I'm a very fearless parent. Of course, it's not easy.
When
but
does that help you, having a bold, fearless mom?
I mean, my mom always knows what to say to someone. So I always go to her, to help me. Like, if I'm fighting with someone, I'm like, please help me. What do I say?
Please tell
Give
me
me
what
advice.
do
I
I...
mean, advice, the wisdom.
Right,
So the wisdom to how to solve the issue or whatever,
right. And who is the better... You can answer this one, Dilawar. Who is the better gift giver? Like, who's the more thoughtful parent when it comes to gifts? Is it Jazz or is it Ali? We see that Ali uncle has arrived and we're going to make him join us. Why is he just looking at us? So we've had Ali Zaidi join us after coming off a flight and we are super, super grateful for him to join. Thank you for, dragging yourself over to this couch. I know you've been very tired. So people ask you about you or country or politics usually, and we're not here for that. We want to know what it's like to be married to the dynamic person that is Jazz.
So there are similarities. We are both very passionate about what we do.
Right.
और इसके दिमाग में जो चीज़ चढ़ जाती है वो करना ही होता है इसमें. Interestingly मेरे दिमाग में जो चीज़ चढ़ जाती है करना ही होता है मैंने.
This is true.
तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. इंटरेस्टिंग इसलिए है कि जब मैंने पहली दफ़ा इलेक्शन लड़ा था 2002 में, तो मैंने उसको फ़ोन किया, ये अमेरिका में थी, तो मैंने कहा कि मैं इलेक्शन लड़ रहा हूँ. तो I don't know what time I called it, was early morning or something. तो मैंने कहा कि मैं खान साहब से मुलाकात हुई है और बड़ा मैं कन्विंस हो गया हूँ कि आई विल जॉइन पॉलिटिक्स फॉर्मली. उससे पहले सपोर्ट करते रहे कई साल से, लेकिन फॉर्मली मैं फॉर्मली इन द सेंस कि आई विल कंटेस्ट द इलेक्शन
Make it official, yeah.
So she was, I think, sleeping. So she said, I'm going back to sleep. You've lost
You lost your mind.
your marbles. There's nothing between your ears. And she actually hung up and I called her again. I said, look, I'm serious. I'm contesting the election.
And I was also working at that time after graduating with the company.
So I said, you got to come back and help me in my campaign. So whatever I've done, whatever, जो एक तो किस्मत अल्लाह ताला की मेहरबानी है, दूसरी जो भी इंसान अचीव करता है, बहुत सारे लोगों की दुआ है, माँ बाप की बहुत दुआ है, लेकिन इसकी सपोर्ट नहीं होती तो यार तो हम नहीं कर सकते. मतलब ये बच्चे तो
Really?
couldn't do it. How could I do it?
That is the sweetest thing. I was not even expecting that. That is legit. Like he's saying, you're the reason.
Because you do we put a lot of sacrifice in, one person is raising them and alone and
Yes.
sacrificing holidays and vacations and no time, so.
But the जो cause है ना, it's bigger than self. But anyways, coming back to your question, ये यहाँ तक जो भी अचीव किया छोटा मोटा जिंदगी में, without her would not have been possible.
And would you credit her for, raising your children to be in the place where they themselves help you in your drives?
I give them spanks as it often happens, but most of the time it's her.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
She does.
But they've joined in and stuff.
साशा के साथ मेरा ज़्यादा टाइम अच्छा गुजरा. Because हम जब दुबई में थे, ये लोग पढ़ रहे थे, तो I used to go drop her to school every morning. And while I used to go drop her to school every morning, मैंने इसको बहुत सारी चीज़ें सिखा दी.
You got that special time with her.
और कलमा और कुल और जितनी
whatever you could do in the school run.
स्कूल के राइड में वो फिर हम लगा के and then YouTube के ऊपर वो सारा होता था. So instead हम बातें करते थे और ये बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीख गई. ये जो है इसके साथ मुझे टाइम कम मिलता है because ये
I mean, now
एक तो
you're.
he's a boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's more
And
intelligent?
he's got a lot. He says he's more intelligent.
Now he speaks. He speaks.
He's a boy. So he was Baba's
It's kind of male
girl,
chauvinistic.
and he's a boy. He actually mama's boy, but
He's
a real boy,
He's
full
my
of
Yeah.
animal's
energy.
boy.
So trying to sit him down. अगर थोड़ी देर इसको बिठा के इसको बात करना बड़ा मुश्किल है because खुदकता रहता है मेंढक की तरह. Like a little
But his
frog.
conversations are
It's
very
remarkable how much
Lekin-
they love.
Looks like a
लेकिन but the fun part is ये देखो हम जब थे बड़े हो रहे थे ना हम MTV generation कहलाते थे.
Yeah.
We were the MTV generation. ये जो बड़े हो रहे हैं ना ये YouTube generation.
This is correct.
And they get so much data in their brains at this age that you know the conversations whenever you get a chance to have a conversation with them. ये जो बातें करता है मैं सोच रहा होता हूँ कि किधर से सीख के आया है क्या बातें कर रहा है.
And so you do make time for them in any way that you can, right?
I try, but not enough.
I'm not going to ask you who's
No.
favorite.
Ooh.
I am fit.
Yeah.
I will tell you in your ear.
Yeah. But when there's only two.
I'll tell you one in 1 year.
And the other in the other ear, of
Everybody's
course. I mean,
favorite.
it's very hard to pick when it's, well, you know, there's only the two of you. We have no choice but to love
But
you.
she understands. One day, a few days ago, she sent me a very touching message. Made me teary-eyed.
You're the one that you opened 4 days later?
Okay, could you?
I had seen it immediately.
That's such a dad move. That's
No,
such a dad move.
I read
Tell
it.
us the message.
I tell you.
Please do.
It was immediate.
Read it. It's a 2v1.
Okay, you read it out loud. So you know exactly what you wrote.
Hello, Baba. I know you're really stressed about work, so I will give you some motivation. You are doing an amazing job for your country, and I am very proud of you. Keep making me proud. I'm missing you loads, but I know you can't come because of work. But I love you. This is all in caps now. And very proud of you. Keep making me proud every day by giving me your 100%. I love you. Okay, that is.
So I could respond
That is-
immediately. It was very touching. And I was sitting in a situation where
You know, just as much as you would want to make your parents proud, now that I'm a parent, I know that feeling of wanting to make your kids proud, and to hear that from your kids, you know, I think you really made his.
I was in a
Weak.
lot. I was working stressful. Lot इतनी सारी चीजें हो रही थी.
And to understand your
पढ़ा
struggle.
फिर मैं थोड़ी देर चिल करके फिर वापस काम पे लगा. But वो एनर्जी का सेल डाल दिया. एनर्जाइजर बनी.
You recharged him. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.